Welcome, time for some art fun. Today, we're going to talk about my 2023 art goals and review the 2022 goals I set for myself last year and see how I did. So stick around. If you haven't seen my top 5 2021 wins and top 5 2022 goals video, I'll leave a link down below so that you can see that first if you want to see what I was thinking about last year. But just to recap, I wanted to improve my video quality and sound here on the YouTube channel, eat veggies with every single meal, use up an entire watercolor palette. Does that sound familiar? Use up all my Turner acrylic gouache, and use up all the Winsor & Newton gouache in my airtight palette. So just to check in on how I did with those goals from last year, I did improve the video and sound quality. I found a bunch of settings. I got a lot more fluent with my editor, VN Editor, and my angles and trying to, switch up the imagery so it's more interesting to watch. I also got a lapel mic. It is a very cheap way to make your sound quality so much more tolerable as a newer YouTuber. So I highly recommend investing in like the $20 to get a lapel mic if you are interested in starting a YouTube channel. The difference in quality between my videos and the sound on my videos in the early days before I had this mic and how it is now is appreciable. Let's put it that way. So definitely achieved goal number 1 in my opinion. Number 2, I need to improve on that one, especially with breakfast. A trick I have is I like to cut up yellow squash, just like zucchini squash, and dice it up real fine and put it in my oatmeal, and I don't even know it's there. So that's a way I've been able to find to hide veggies in my breakfast. But when I run out of that squash, I don't go get new ones for like days, if not weeks, and I don't even remember. So I just need to do a better job of stocking up my yellow squash because that's a veggie I do not notice in breakfast. For the third one, I have been making excellent progress. Actually, let me give you a visual update here. This is my Regina's watercolor palette. I have made excellent progress on this palette this year. So this is a glass mixing palette, and this is a set of magnetic, actually it's on here pretty good, but magnetic watercolor palettes. I believe these are quarter pans, and this one is from Rawlinson End. It was just a gifted one, but it was metal, so I thought I'd put it in here since my yellow's going pretty fast. But this is my progress. So the yellow is almost done. The kind of warm yellow, the new Gamboge, is also almost done. This like cool brown and the warm brown are both making excellent progress. I would say that this ultramarine blue, but it doesn't really come across as an ultramarine. It comes across more like a different kind of phthalo, is getting the least use. These pinks are getting more use now, but they weren't before. It's more recent that those are getting more use. And along with the Midnight Blue, which is like a Payne's Gray, that one's getting more use now that I realized it mixes so well. So that is what the divot in that one looks like. Is that coming across? It's hard to show these because it keeps wanting to focus on my hand, but basically I've been making great progress on these this year, and I do want to use this up this year just to have a palette used up. I love Regina's watercolors. I use this because I love it, not because I'm not trying to use this up because I don't love it. I'm trying to use it up because it's the one that would be easiest to use up. I just want to be able to make that achievement happen. So this palette is the one that I want to use up this year, and that is a holdover from last year. So bear that in mind. Update on the third goal, which is also a holdover for goal for 2023, is to use up my Turner acrylic gouache. Now this one I've made even better progress. Let me give you a peek here. I only have 3 colors left of the acrylic gouache from, I believe I had 15 tubes last time I was checking in with you, so I have been using them a ton, and then some of them just dried up to the point that I had to throw them out. So some of them got used and some of them got thrown out for being useless. These are nice and juicy, squishy tubes, so these are not anywhere near drying out. All 3 of these are just delicious, like the Turner consistency that you want and that you see people fall in love with on other channels. The only reason I'm not a huge fan of Turner is because I've had so many tubes dry up on me, and so I would not repurchase. But a lot of people on YouTube absolutely adore these. They're very affordable entry-level acrylic gouache, which is just a gouache that instead of being like opaque watercolor, it's more like acrylic, but it's matte. So it dries permanent, but it is a matte finish instead of the more typical shiny finish of acrylic. And then I have all of these absolutely stunning fancy girls These are the acrylic gouache from Holbein, and I got a ton of them over this year, and I just really can't wait to get into these, but I've been holding them until I finish these. So I'll probably end up combining them now because I'm down to 3 tubes, but I see this in my future in 2023. Finally, last year I wanted to use up one fill of my Transin Airtight palette, which you probably have seen a bunch on Sketches and Scrubs channel. She saw it on my channel and went out and got, I believe, 10 of them from her local shop just in case, because they were so hard for her to find. She wanted backups, and she's even more obsessed with this palette than I am. I actually ended up struggling with this palette this year because I overfilled a couple of colors and then they kind of exploded out the back, and you know, color got everywhere and it ruined my color swatch sheet, and I kind of got discouraged, even though that was completely my fault and I knew I shouldn't be overfilling it, but I did anyway. So poor palette got it taken out on it, and I did not use that palette nearly as much as I would have if I didn't have that one bad experience. And I'm sorry, I'm such a brat that I didn't go back and use it again anyway, but I just haven't touched that thing in, I would say, a couple of months now, if I'm being fully transparent. And I do want to get back into using it. I just haven't used gouache in general for a while. I've been using acrylic gouache and watercolor a ton more, and other materials. Like, I've gotten way more into acrylic markers, like the Grabby pens and Posca pens and the new Artex brush acrylic markers that I'm obsessed with, that you'll see a ton on Stephanie Davis's channel. So I just fully failed. This is the one goal that I was just a full fail. So let's get into the 2023 goals. We've already done 2 of them. Let's talk about the last 3. My third goal for 2023 is to take more risks. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I see certain reference photos and I'm terrified. I look at them and I have no idea how to recreate them. I don't know where to even begin. Really complex, beautiful landscapes, really intense portraits, maybe with really cool lighting. I get so intimidated with complex backgrounds, a lot of details. I just get intimidated and sometimes I shy away. And so I need to just tackle that this year and just get down to the nitty-gritty. I have been overcoming it somewhat lately. Like, I'll insert some videos here. This portrait on the left, I actually did with watercolor brush markers, which was really hard because I had a really limited color set and they don't blend that well. And then on the right, this is actually my 4th goal, which is to paint from imagination more this year. And I have been dabbling, but this is an example of what happens when I try to paint from imagination. Sometimes it just comes out weird, and that's okay. I just want to see more weirdness. I want to see more risks in my sketchbook this year. Sometimes, especially with a YouTube channel, I put pressure on myself that everything I need to make as a finished piece, something that's worth showing people, something that's cute, adorable, perfect, wonderful, something I'm proud of. And frankly, I will not grow if I don't take risks and make some things that are ugly. And if I do that, I could come up with stuff like this. Like, this is another one I painted from imagination. This was using my acrylic gouache, my Turner, and I love it. So sometimes I have to make some ugly stuff to know that I'm stretching my skills to make some stuff I really love looking at. So my 5th and final goal this year for 2023 is to improve my portraits. So I've been doing a ton of portraits lately. I'll put in some pictures here of the recent ones that you'll have seen on this channel. And I'm really loving making them, but I'm not totally in love with the results. Some of them I love, some of them I'm really happy looking at, and some of them I'm sort of like, what is going on? Why do I stink? So I'm just gonna keep pushing, keep on keeping on in 2023 and continue to make portraits, even if they're a struggle bus for me. That's okay. You guys have been so nice to me about it. You are so supportive of me branching out and trying my portraits and just being a little bit wild with it. And I cannot tell you how much it has meant to me this year, how wonderful you are. That has been a huge win of 2022 that I did not see coming, is that this channel brought me so many wonderful art relationships. The people in the comments here, if you don't know this already, if you've never commented, I highly recommend you comment, even if it's just a reply to someone else's comment, because you will make friends. People on this channel are so friendly. Like, I don't want to be biased in favor of my own audience, but I totally am. I feel like you all are so friendly. You're so sweet. You're so cute. You're so nice. And all I get are compliments, encouragement, ideas, tips, tricks, corrections that are super helpful, like helpful critique, which I totally welcome. It has made a huge difference to my process this year. So thank you so much. Please remember to check if you're subscribed. If you're not, I would love if you would subscribe and follow this next year's journey to see if I'm able to achieve these goals. Leave a like, and yes, definitely comment. You will not regret it. Until next time, remember, create something cute.